Hey there, folks. I'm Nando. I'm a graphical artist and illustrator, and tonight is a rare, cold Friday in Brazil, so I'm taking the head out. Tonight we're talking about something that hits me in the gut because it can get kind of personal. Maybe you are an aspiring artist, maybe you are someone who wants to make this a career, you want to live off your work and do what you love the whole day and pay your bills with it. Maybe you watched like 1 or 2 or 10 videos about how to grow your Instagram following and get more commissions, and all the videos kind of say the same stuff that kind of works but not really, so you might feel very lost. And I was in that position a couple of years ago and I found a way out. And that's what we are talking about today. The art community and society kind of gives you 2 paths for an art career. Option 1, you go official, so you kind of graduate in an art college, get really insanely good, and you're going to work at a big studio company or whatever. Think of Disney, Blizzard, maybe a smaller animation studio, maybe Marvel, the big boys. And needless to say, that's very difficult because you have to be kind of one of the best in your field ever to get to work with those guys. And even if you do, the working conditions can get very iffy and you're not paid that much for how skilled you have to be. Option B, you go freelance. Think of Instagram influencers, people who have immense following on social media and you get commissions all the time, so you can spend your whole day just drawing away and that'll pay your bills. It's easier, but it's also insanely saturated, so it's also very hard. But there is a third way, one that's not going to give you instantaneous success, but I guarantee it works. This is not clickbait. This is not clickbait because it worked for me and it worked for every successful non-celebrity artist that I know. So what we are discussing is why getting a job in the art industry can kind of kill your career, but there's a way. So firstly, I'm going to explain why actually having a job in the industry can suck for you. And I mean, if you actually want to work for a big boy studio or be a big shot influencer, do it if that's what you want. But just like anything in life, I don't believe 2 options will work for everyone. And I really believe that most artists that are struggling, it's because they never got to learn about option C, because it's kind of counterintuitive. Sometimes, why does people actually want to work in the industry? It's because they love art. It's because that's what they want to do all day, even though there are so many other careers that are so much easier to earn money from. And I understand that. That's the choice I made. So, dumb question. Why does some people want to work in the art industry even though there are so many easier ways to earn money? Well, it's because some people are very passionate about art. It's what they are passionate about. It's what they want to do all day, even though there are so many other easier paths. So the point of working in the art industry isn't the job title. It's living art. It's making it part of your life. It isn't like being a doctor. Some people hate being a doctor, but it's something they do because, well, it sucks, but it sure pays well. It isn't a practical choice. It's a aspirational one. So option C is that you don't make art your job. And by job, I mean it's not what you do to earn money. Because what you do, it's what matters to you. You aren't your job title. Your job title is just what you do for money. So if someone ever asks you, what do you do? Would you just take your job title, or would you say like, I'm a gardener. I have a garden in front of my house that I'm very passionate about. I'm an uncle, I take care of my nieces in the weekends. I'm a gamer. I care a lot about video games. It's something that I do. It's something that I share with my friends. I do charity work. Those are the things that matters to you. Those are the things that you dedicate your time to. We were kind of indoctrinated from childhood to believe that our job titles are our whole identity. Our identity is by the things that we care about. Maybe you love your job. Maybe it's just something that you do for money because we need it. And that's all right. That's completely fine. Third option is you keep doing art like hard, you dedicate to it, but you don't try to make it your breadwinner. And I'm going to tell you, this is how I actually made my art career work. And ironically, when you stop trying to make art all about earning money, earning clients, a lot of opportunities show up. That's how I actually started my art career. It's how things started to work. You have to understand that working in the art industry will never be easy because it's something that has high supply. A lot of people dream of making this a career. There's low demand because very few people want to spend money with art. I'm going to share a story with you. I'm actually an architect. When I was in high school, I told my parents that I wanted to do something creative with my life, but I didn't want to starve to death. And they told me, well, you could be an architect. It's kind of creative and it's a respectable career. And as long as someone wants to build something legally, by law, they are required to have an architect on site. So it's kind of a safe plan. And that's how I spent half a decade of my life. It was grueling, but I got to graduate. I'm actually a registered architect. And I graduated just when, meanwhile, there was some fucking bankers in the US that made some bullshit with the real estate market, which caused a global economic crash in 2018. When I graduated, there were no jobs because everyone in my country were broke because of something they did in the US. That's living in a third world country for you. You do everything right and someone on the other side of the globe just ruins your life. I was fucked. Completely unemployed, no expectations. I couldn't even be like a Walmart cashier because when I tried to get hired by anything less demanding, people told me, well, you have a degree, you're going to abandon us as soon as something better appears. And I mean, they were right. Nobody wants to make a career in Walmart. People do that because they need to. And I got into a deep depression, like I didn't know what to do. My life was completely stuck. And a friend of mine told me, well, you love drawing, you love creating stuff. Just why don't you try being a designer online? Like, at least you'll feel less miserable. And that's what I did. And it was amazing because I abandoned drawing for a long while during college because there was no time. And I finally felt alive again. Like, I learned that creating stuff was something that gave me life. I needed to do this, but I struggled. Man, I struggled because I'm not the kind of person, even though I'm being all extroverted in front of the camera, I'm not the kind of guy that does well on social media or that even enjoys it. I actually hate social media. I never liked Instagram even when it was good. Twitter wasn't never for me, and I really struggled to find enough clients, get commissions. Like, it was making me miserable to try and make money from it. Not only because people were broke at the time. And there was a moment where I was so exhausted of battling with life because I was an adult having to live with my parents. I had no independency. I couldn't like go out with friends. I couldn't like buy clothes that I wanted to. Like, it was like being an adult with all the pressures and living like a child. So I was like, fine, I'll get any job that'll pay me. And that's what I did. All I had was my portfolio, but I had no actual experience. I had a lot of experience working, so I was like, fine, I'll take any job that'll pay me because I want to have a life. But there was a problem. Because I spent so much time freelancing, I had nothing on my resume. All I had was like 3 years being a freelance and a diploma that I never used. So nobody would hire me because, well, unfortunately for the market, having no experience actually working for a company means that you have no experience. Freelancing means nothing for the market. What gave me my first opportunity was because at the time, as a hobby, I was part of a zine collective. And I made some zines with a bunch of other guys that were actually working as designers. So I made a comic book that kind of sucked. It's not even online because I'm ashamed of it, but a dude actually hired me to be the layout designer for 2 magazines. One was about healthcare and the other was like celebrity gossip. I'm not proud of it, but it was the start of my career. And it wasn't something that I actually loved doing. It was fine, like I didn't hate it. It was something that I did that I could like listen to podcasts and audiobooks while doing stuff on Photoshop. But it gave me the opportunities to earn money and build a life. With my first salary ever, I bought a tablet that I have to this day, and I started streaming on Twitch, and people started getting to know me because on my free time I was doing what I wanted to do. Stuff passed, I worked on several places. I made a lot of marketing material for other companies, and so what started my career wasn't like my graduation, it wasn't the being amazing at art. I wasn't at the time. It was because I went and made stuff that I was actually passionate about in my free time. And that's what I believe that most artists are missing on. Do personal projects. For God's sake, stop waiting for you to be hired to do something. Just do it. So what gave me my kickstart on my career was some bullshit that I did on my free time for fun. And that's what I think most artists are missing on. Don't wait for you to be hired to do something or to be commissioned. Just do something that you love. Then you figure out afterwards. So that was the secret. When I stopped trying to make everything I created about getting more commission, getting paid, getting a career, and just focus it on I will do stuff that I want to do because I have an actual day job, and during the night nobody can tell me what I should and shouldn't do. I suddenly had cool shit to show to people, and that opened so many doors to me. My current job started because my boss saw my cyberpunk zine and thought it was cool, and I was probably capable of doing the kind of artwork that they needed for the company. So now, because I gave up trying to have the job title of an illustrator, I got a job as an illustrator, which is insane. In summary, I'm going to teach you the not most glamorous, but guaranteed, no bullshit, no clickbaiting, this, I'm being serious, the most guaranteed way to being an artist and making art part of your life. Step 1, get your material needs fulfilled. If you get a job in the art industry, that's awesome. Since those are rare, that's unlikely. So find something that you might not love, but you also don't hate, and that pays you enough to have some sort of stability in your life. From that, all your free time, is yours to do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. You can build. Nobody can tell you what to do, because one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that when you work in the art industry, you're not doing stuff that you like. You're doing stuff that your client wants. And what your client wants will probably be stuff that will make other people buy their shit. You most likely won't be drawing cool characters, action scenes, cool designs. You just do what the marketing tells you to do. That's being realistic. And that's fine. Because now, step 2, your free time is yours. Step 2, if you work, eventually you're gonna have free time. Free time that you can do whatever you want. That's when you're going to be an artist and create cool stuff. And I already hear people saying, oh, my work is very hard. When I get home, I don't have time, I'm too tired. All I can do is crash and sleep to the next day. That's understandable, especially if you work like physical labor. But I think it's insanely sad when late-stage capitalism grinds us down to the point that we are not even living after work. We are just crashing before working some more. There are ways to adapt so that the workday doesn't grind us down as much. It isn't easy, but regardless, even if you're not trying to be an artist, that's something that everybody has to deal with. So try to optimize your work. So my tips: try to optimize everything that's going to waste your time. You have to do the dishes, you have to take a bath, you have to walk the dog. Try to optimize everything that's not what you actually want to do, so it wastes as little time as possible. Secondly, stamina isn't only for your physical body, it's also for your mind. Just like you can train your body to get less tired over doing some exercise, you can do that to your mind. It isn't easy, fair enough. Some days you're going to get home really tired, you wanted to do your comic, but you're just so tired. That's alright, you're human. So sit down and just do like 5 minutes. Get your phone, put a timer and do like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. If you sit down and actually draw one line, you're probably going to draw a little more than you were expecting to. But when you do this consistently, you don't need to grind yourself down and force yourself to do that. It's not your job. Remember, you don't have to die over it. But if you put a little effort, like try to push yourself a little bit beyond what you're used to consistently, you get good at it eventually. You'll be able to do much more than you imagine. My friends call me workaholic because I'm always working outside of work. But since it's not my job, it doesn't count. But I actually love what I'm doing, so even though I'm tired and sometimes I have to say, no, today I'm going to make an effort of not being productive, I actually enjoy this. I love getting out of work and doing what I actually plan to. And speaking of planning, free planning. Sometimes we are used to like sit on our desk with a piece of paper and I'm going to draw something. And if you do that and you're already tired and you have no idea of what to do, you're going to waste a lot of time and you're going to get frustrated. Because of that, what I suggest is that you plan ahead. So when I'm planning to have a drawing session after work, I usually decide what I'm going to draw during the afternoon. So number 4, projects. We artists, sometimes we undervalue having projects too much because those sounds too ambitious, too complicated, intimidating, too big, so much effort, no time. But it doesn't need to be. You can like do a 2,000 pages comic book, or you can just say, I'm going to do 10 pages of comic strips. That's something that you can do like one a day, and in 10 days you're going to have a small booklet with your comic strips. That's a project. When you're browsing a timeline, how much time do you spend looking at one random drawing of someone, even if it's a cool drawing? Do you spend like 10 seconds, 20? Maybe do you spend 1 minute? No, not really. What we are remembered for are our projects, and by projects I mean it's a comic book, a bunch of comic strips, stories that you write, videos that you make. It's stuff that it's an artwork. It's something that's content. And content isn't just doodles. Doodles are fine, you should do that sometimes. Just draw endlessly is actually really good for your brain, but it's good as a part of your whole work body, not all of it. But that's a career tip. And lastly, and that's the hardest part, but it's something that everyone is going to have to deal with eventually as a society. The internet is a tool. It's an amazing tool. It's just awesome. But we were convinced by social media that it's the only thing we need to be an artist. And that's bullshit. That's a lie. Getting a following in a big social media is more of a lottery than a skill-based thing. Of course, you need to have some skill to get it, but not necessarily. You need to disconnect a little bit. Like, do you know what actually gave me opportunities as an artist? Getting to know people IRL. Like, I went to art meetings and drew with people and made friends, and now I'm doing an illustration course and I'm learning more from talking to the other dudes doing the course than from the classes themselves. People remember me because of that, and I remember them, and sometimes we want to do collabs. And we were just, social media told us that it would give us the opportunities that old art galleries would never give us. And then it became the algorithm, and now only the precious ones can get attention. So I'm not saying that we should abandon the internet, but it's one tool. By itself, it's useless. You need to go outside and know people. I told you, I got jobs because I actually made zines and I have shown to people, like personally. I got it on people's hands. People can browse it and take it home. And that's the hardest part. We need to not relearn, because we never learned it, how to be artists outside of the internet. Like, I personally have shown an art book that I made, Paraphobia, link on the description, to someone, and the guy just said, "This is really cool, why don't you make an exhibit of it?" And I was like, I have no idea of how I do that. Where do I go? Who do I talk to? How do I do that outside of the internet? Every time you have an opportunity to bring your artwork to the meet space, do it. Don't lose one opportunity as long as you can afford it. That's what's going to enrich your life. That's what's gonna get you friends, girlfriends. That's what's going to make stuff work. Not only as an artist, but it's what's going to make you feel fulfilled. So that's why, if you're an aspiring artist, maybe what's going to kill your career is having a job in the art industry. You don't need a job title. All you need to be an artist is doing the artwork and sharing it with people, preferably on MeetSpace where there are no algorithms. That's how most artists that I know that aren't internet celebrities, which means the vast majority of them, got their careers going. You don't need to be a slave to the market. Just do what you're passionate about. If you create what you're passionate about, you're already an artist. And even if you want to monetize it later, just have your projects done and figure it out later. And that's the secret to having an art career. And I never hear anybody talking about it, which is insane because it's kind of obvious when you know about it. And that's it. You've been looking at my work on the sidelines, like and subscribe, yada yada yada. And I really hope that my horrible experiences can be of use and it can help people to just skip the bad parts and achieve whatever amazing things you want to create faster and easier. And if you do, share with me. I'd love to get to know your projects. See you guys next time. See ya.